हेलो एंड अस्सलाम वालेकुम। क्या हाल है आपके? आई होप यू ऑल डूइंग वेल। काफ़ी दिनों बाद एक रील, बट एनीवेज, this was really interesting news and I thought it's really, I mean, just like in the past, right? I just think it's important to see and be aware of what's happening around us. Be aware of the law, always be on the right side of the law, and to note and learn from these stories of crime that happen around us. तो इसी तरह से आज मैं आपके पास लेकर आ रही हूँ एक कहानी जो आप सुन के काफ़ी ताज्जुब करेंगे एंड यू विल वंडर दैट वेयर एंड व्हाई डू पीपल पुश द लिमिट्स ऑफ द लॉ. Now this is a story of a gentleman, it's not really a gentleman, of a man who has been arrested by the police for running a huge cocaine and heroin drug um, network, I guess. Now, you know, when I bring these stories to you, I always like to point out how a lot of these criminals are operating under the radar, using things that you wouldn't really think twice about. And that is the story that we're going to look at today. So, this gentleman, Mohammed Abdul Bakir, was arrested by the Great Britain and UK police for running a multi-millionaire cocaine and crack gang. And how was he operating? He was actually operating this ring of drugs through Uber cars. And wait, just before you start swearing off Uber cars, he wasn't really an Uber driver. No, he wasn't. ये क्या कर रहे थे कि ये एक white Prius was in his possession when he was arrested, and that was the car he was using at the moment. And two arrests were made. Two kind of, two. So this gentleman was using a white Prius at the time of his arrest, and the UK police actually had two separate warrants. In one, they found a stash of Class A drugs worth £45,000 and a shotgun which had been sawed off, and it had a silencer. These were recovered from a digital safe. At around the same time, they arrested this gentleman, Mohammed Abdul Bakir, who's 45 years old, from a second location where he was found in the possession of two mobile phones. His deputy, who was actually only 22-year old, was also arrested. They were running a drug operation by the name of Green Lines. Interesting choice of name. और ये नाम कहाँ से आया? He had very bright green eyes, and he named his drug business after his eyes. So it was a green line operation. When people bought drugs from them, the drug users, cocaine users, heroin users, they knew that this green line operation would get them a certain quality of drugs. And so it was also good branding, I guess, for these criminals. And his deputy was arrested and sentenced alongside him. Abdul was sentenced to 15 years, and his deputy, who's only 22-year-old, got 5 years. So this deputy of Abdul's, called Naseem Ahmed, actually held the reins to his RICO network, and they were both feared and there was a whole kind of hold that they had over people, innocent children, who they used in their drug smuggling, and people were really careful to stay on their right side. And they've now been successfully caught, so we don't need to worry about running into them or having them operate in our area. This entire drug operation was happening in London's Square Mile, and it's very interesting to see how they were working. So what Abdul was doing was that he would change his cars every now and then, so every 3 to 4 months. So like I said, or it's interesting to see how this gang was operating. And what Abdul Bakir was doing was that he would drive cars, and different cars. He was quite disciplined in this. Every 3 to 4 months, he would make sure that he changed his cars. He would always put an Uber sticker on top of the car. Even though now it's been established, and the violent crimes kind of wing of police who arrested him Detective Jared Fortune, they checked with Uber. He's never driven an Uber in his life, but it was a really great cover for him. And how did he, let me get into the details of what he was doing. So, like I mentioned in the start, at the moment he was using a very ordinary Toyota Prius and white colored blend in. He would have a Uber sticker on the car, and it's actually quite smart thinking, because that way अगर कभी पकड़ा भी जाए वो कह सकता था कि ये मेरा तो नहीं है, and कोई customer छोड़ के आए इसको, or he would make excuse. He could possibly have used that as an excuse. And he would pose as an Uber driver and drive from location to location, while he and his deputy, or his kind of main man Naseem, they exploited vulnerable people and children to peddle their drugs, cocaine and heroin. And they were extremely narcissistic, especially Abdul. I mean, he actually, imagine naming your criminal operation after the color of your eyes, because he had bright green eyes, and he calls this the green line operation. And they've been doing this and getting away with it for some time. And well, now they are both behind bars. Abdul, who's the main kind of brainchild, has got 15 years sentence, and Naseem has got 5 years. And they are both behind bars. And this investigation to catch them, it took 2 years. It took the London police 2 years of investigating, of following up leads, of making sure they had their details before they were able to arrest them. So 2 years of hard work finally came together in these 2 arrests. And they have managed to crack this drug empire of class A drugs peddling. And it's a multi-million empire. So there was obviously a lot of very expensive and harmful substances that these gentlemen together were peddling. Abdul obviously being the main man, and using Naseem to terrorize people. And I just wanted to share the story with you. एंड मैं चाहती हूँ कि आप ये सुन के देखें और सोचें इसके बारे में कि कैसे हमारे कम्युनिटी के अंदर, विदाउट इवन हैविंग थॉट अबाउट इट, these things can happen. And you would never have thought that somebody with an Uber sticker on their car and beautiful green eyes could actually be a criminal. But there you go. This man never drove an Uber in his life, but he successfully used the kind of tools of modern society to be a criminal and get away with it for a long time. So that's the story for today. Keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and be careful. Watch what's happening in your surroundings, and if you see something suspicious, do report it. Thank you. Take care. Bye.